Welcome, United Countrymen. If you stick with me to the end of this story, I think you're going to be quite shocked as you start to realize why your life has been kind of in turmoil so much, why each day seems to pass and go by and not seem to have meaning, why even though you've earned a lot of money in life, you've become what they might consider wealthy, you still seem to be aggravated all the time. You're nervous. Your health isn't what you thought it would be at this time in this stage. All of these things occurring in life seem to be so confusing, and you can't seem to tie it all together as to who the controlling factor is and why America seems to be falling apart, why there's so much division when just a few years ago, maybe your parents or your grandparents' age, it was land of the free and home of the brave. But what we're seeing now is land of the division, land of all of these immigrants coming in who don't have your lifestyle. They don't have any background in America. They come from a foreign place. Many don't believe in Christianity. They don't believe in the God you believe in. And this is causing a lot of anxiety. It's causing a lot of chaos. It's causing a lot of turmoil. It's causing a lot of questioning of whether people still want to even live in the United States. And these are patriots. What has occurred is something that is called learned helplessness syndrome. And even for the most intellectual Christian, as I have been at this for over 20 years, advising people, our university has been instructing people on how to deal with this situation, you will find some of the most intellectual people, doctors, some very wealthy entrepreneurs, still are not able to escape and figure out what their problem is, why they feel the way they do. And what I'm telling you is there is someone who's had a couple thousand years of practice at this, sneaking in, causing the anxiety, the division, the problems that are going on. And we're also told simultaneously that the problem is something else, that it's probably you. And in real fact, it is not you. It is a system, a construct that has entered into the churches, into your political realms, your government, even to your conservative sides of viewpoints, and it has entered into your personal life through the news, through watching television, through the endless sports games, through social media. There is no end to the attack on your system. Now, Turning Point USA and these other organizations like it, and there's several you can think of, are a very strange place, much like Facebook. We're all told the cover story for Facebook that this young guy, Mark Zuckerberg, started some little thing on a college campus, and then it ended up turning into what it is today. And to anyone with half a brain, they will understand that that is absolutely ridiculous. That how does DARPA end up involved? How does the CIA, how do all these huge organizations in the government end up in and involved with little old Facebook started on a college campus? This brings us into these organizations. Now, we all know, if you've been following any of this Charlie Kirk information, all of these crazy stories that keep going more and more and more in depth on the story that we were told that Charlie Kirk was this young guy who started this college campus crusade type of thing. So how does Donald Trump get involved in this? How do billionaire backers and financiers get involved in this? How is it that both him and his wife have ties to the most high political figures in America? How are they tied to the military-industrial complex? How is all of this seem to be falling out now. There's something really strange about this. And what's causing people such anxiety, what's causing people such stress, among all of these things, going back to 9/11, 2001, is that the stories don't match the reality. And in order for people to keep their tunnel vision on this, perceptual tunneling it's called, a psychological term that I had invented and coined, in order to stay in that psychological tunnel where you are taught since you started school about your patriotism, about the way you feel about life, what's good and bad, what you were taught in church and school, and somebody else's interpretation of the Bible that they forced upon you. In order to keep all of that in line and match up with the official story, you have to have learned helplessness syndrome. You have to stop thinking for yourselves. And most of all, one of the biggest problems that keeps occurring, why no one can seem to escape from all of this, the constant anxiety, the worry, the things that coincide with all of this, and a few select people, Silicon Valley individuals, you're talking 10 to 20 people, are controlling the lives, the use of media, of millions and millions of people. And they're using organizations, they're using these organizations like, I don't know, Turning Point. This is just my opinion. We don't want to get sued, but they're using these organizations to do things like control the Christian mindset about how things work in life. So let's take on this for a second here, and I'm going to bring the big picture up to you now if you've waited. Turning Point USA, supposedly a Christian organization with lots of Joel Osteen type of followers, Christians, cheering on the new agenda, mourning Charlie Kirk's disappearance, and moving right along feeling they're beating the drum, taking them to the new level. And there's something very strange about this. Now, me being involved now, writing 2 or 3 books on the subject, I say 2 or 3 because I have white papers and different things on psychological patternings to control people's minds, to get them to do things they wouldn't normally do. And so we evaluate situations like this so that we can help protect Christians from the deceptions that can lead them to harmful places. Financial destruction, emotional anxiety, health, you name it. There is something that Satan's minions will do to harm you. And getting wealthy, which most of you are who listen to this, will not protect you from these things. So this is where we come in the protection grid so that you can help yourself to help others. Now, I'm going to bring up this point right now if you've stuck with me this long, because it's very important. If Turning Point USA and many other of these organizations that are like it are a Christian organization for pro-Christian ideologies, for pro-America, then why did Charlie Kirk start saying things like, where is all the money disappearing to? If he was in control of everything, how come he couldn't keep track of where all the money was disappearing to? Why did he start saying things like, I am no longer going to support Israel? Why did he start saying things that Candace Owens and others have revealed, that he feels like they're threatening his life? Well, that's kind of odd, isn't it? And most of all, why was this Christian organization so involved with a religious group in a country that is anti-Christian? Now, I know your Schofield Bible pastor has taught you that Christianity and Judaism kind of go together. But I'm here to tell you that they are the exact opposite. They are more opposite than Islam is to Christianity. More hostile, but in a covert way. They reject Christ. For 2,000 years they've had a strong rejection. And in fact, their religion teaches that you must. In fact, if someone were to become a Christian who was Jewish-ish, they'll be kicked out of their family. They won't. Their father even will reject them. It's so highly understood in the community. So then I ask you this prominent Christian organization, like so many others that mirror it, why did they have so many billionaire against Christ Jewish funders? What is up with all of these organizations funding Christian organizations? Why does, let's say, Pastor Hagee's church in Texas, why are they so adamant about pushing Israel? It makes me question where a lot of funding and book deals and raising of funds and such things came from for that huge mega organization there. It makes me wonder why Jewish-owned networks are promoting these Christian Zionist churches. It makes me wonder why supposed Christian organizations are being funded by antichrist religious individuals. Now, Christians cannot seem to think this far as to what's going on. And here's where we do the great revealing for you. They are supported because of the form of Christianity that is exploited through these organizations, through these churches, is not the same as 1900 years of Christian belief was. See, the formation of Israel needed Christian America, and they needed the support, the financial support, the work, the weaponry, the military. They needed Christians to protect them. They needed Christians to fund them. And they realized that if they lose the support of the Protestant Christian church, the nation of Israel will fall, because it doesn't have the protection of the Old Testament God they supposedly worship. That nation was formed by secular humanists, atheists, not by God-fearing Old Testament Judeans or Hebrews. So what has happened is they are using these faux Christian organizations to teach a form of Christianity, a captured form. So think of it like this. They will allow these individuals leading these organizations to win over people to Christ, or win over Christians to their organization, from which there they will mentally enslave them in a form of false religious ideology and thinking that causes them to almost worship Israel more than Jesus. They will get them in a mindset and a teaching form that enslaves their entire system of being into supporting and funding and allowing these politicians and people to send all of their tax dollars. Let's say you work all year long and 40% of your taxes and a percentage of that is now going to Israel. So you're struggling to pay your health insurance if you can afford it at all. You're struggling to pay so your child can go to a university or a college, while in Israel, your money is going to pay for free health care for the citizens of that nation. Your money is going to pay for free education to those people. And I will tell you this, if you go to Israel and talk about Jesus in public, you just probably will get spit on. That's been seen many times. In fact, Christians that go to the Wailing Wall will get screamed at, and soldiers or police will have to protect them from how they actually feel. Churches are getting bombed. People are being kicked out of the land. Christians are having to leave for self-protection. There are Jewish people leaving out of New York and New Jersey, part-time out of the year, and they go and take over a house where someone has been thrown out of it. Maybe their family lived there for a couple hundred years, and they'll go and occupy that house under military guard even, and that take over the whole subdivision, kick the family out on the street, children and everything, so this guy can go and live in that house and then go back to Jersey or New York or whatever it might be. This is pretty sickening to find out where your money's been going, the attitude of things. And these institutions now that have been capturing for a very short time, 80 years, let's say, have been capturing the mind of Christians and causing such anxiety, causing learned helplessness syndrome, causing a system of mental thinking that is destroying the clarity and the peace of mind. I know you can't stand the threat, if you're wealthy, of some kind of legal lawsuit or some kind of thing where, you know, you want to leave inheritance to your children, and there's a Jewish lawyer just nibbling at the bit to sue you, to do some kind of thing to get your wealth, to cause some kind of anxiety about any of those type of factors on a multitude of fronts, because I think they represent 75% of the cases that are won dealing with these sorts of things. The extraction of a lifetime of someone's wealth, the threat of it, in fact. That's not very pleasant. And it's also not pleasant to realize that all of these organizations that you think you trusted for so long, that are put in the media constantly, constantly put in the media, are actually being funded and run in the back ends by people that are against Christ. Now, I'm saying this so you understand the duality and the things in the back end that are obstructing your life. You don't understand why so much time of your life, I wrote about this in the book Millionaire Mindset. You think it's absolutely normal because of being in a reality tunnel, of watching so many hours of sports. Do you realize that, now this is, don't go click away here because this is important. Several years of your life, 24 hours a day, when you go back and analyze how much time you have spent watching nothing, watching a game, sports, are controlled and were manufactured by Freemasons. Freemasons controlled by the same people who are controlling these faux Christian organizations. The destruction of the mind, the power over the individual to not be able to regulate their own life, is even seen in the Bible. We get many verses about how you let an enemy creep into the land and then you're controlled by that enemy. This is what's happened to Christian America. Christian America has now been flooded. Who was waiting at the border to transport these illegal aliens flooding in without being stopped? Jewish Family Services with buses and transportation, dumping all of these aliens off into the cities. Who was blocking the removal of these people? Who set up all of the living arrangements for them, taking over hotels, who arranged for all the finance, money to be transferred? I mean, Some of them were getting $5,000 a month plus free housing and laundry, all of this stuff, free meals, all getting paid for by the working class person and Christians in America. Somebody was behind all this. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because you have to start to realize where the majority of this against Christ problematic situation is coming from. And you need solutions to break you out of this. You need solutions that work. And solutions come oftentimes from understanding. Understanding comes from knowledge. This is why we teach these things. We teach the understanding of how the world works, how to know your enemy, and then the steps and processes to take to break your mind free of the programming that took place in the public schools. 75% of all the universities now have these controlling factors of the same people controlling these faux Christian organizations. Everywhere you turn, from the movies, from Hollywood, to the music industry, we have been bombarded, like Weimar Germany, we have been bombarded by an anti-Christian or a fake controlling Christian narrative. This is what brought about the whole incident with the programmed attempt to eliminate 85% of the population of the world through those vaccinations, right? This has all been orchestrated, guys. I hope you have followed along with this story here. And it might seem a little dark or negative, but it's important to realize that to escape all of this, to escape it in your own life, there has to be a shift in the narrative of thinking. There has to be a shift in the understanding of what's controlling or manipulating you. I say all this because these billionaire backers who were threatening Charlie Kirk, these billionaire backers who are against Christ, it makes no sense in your commonality of thought as to why they would be backing a Christian organization other than controlling it and getting Christians to support what they wouldn't normally do. And it's time to start realization in this. It's time to turn your life over to what the Bible says, over to what the dictates of Christianity says, in freeing yourself, in aligning yourself with God's mission. Because if you're out of alignment, if you're being tricked, if you're allowing witchcraft to be used on you, and that's exactly what's happening to everyone. You're being controlled by Kabbalistic black magic. And they're laughing at you until someone like Charlie Kirk, who starts saying, you know what, I'm breaking away from this. I think something's wrong. I think the exposing of all this is coming out in the open. And so what happened? All of this now, the things being revealed by Candace Owens, is coming to light. It's coming to fruition. It may even destroy the secular false state of Israel. It may cause people to flee America because they realize that the Christian American person is waking up to what's been happening. It's nothing new. It has happened 109 times in history in nations in the past, and they have realized what has happened over and over again. I'm telling you, if you'd like to free yourself, check out United Countrymen and the United Countrymen University. It's where we go deep into exposing all of the things that have caused the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the fear over lawfare, the fear of taxes and government, the takeover, the feeling that you don't have a voice anymore. All of this is manufactured and orchestrated to cause torment. Because what does Satan love to do? He loves to cause the believers torment. And we're here to help you as a guide. Been at this for 20 years to set you free from this. It's all a matter of what the Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I understand at one time I was fooled by all of this. And that's when I woke up to it, it made me very angry. And it should make you angry too, with a righteous anger. Check out unitedcountrymen.com and apply to join the university. I think you're going to really have a life transformation from all of this. See you on the next recording. If you don't know all about what we're talking about what we're talking about with all of this connections, all of these oddities with the control of these so-called Christian organizations, you're going to want to check out this other video we have. It'll show up somewhere around maybe here. Okay, guys, talk to you soon.